Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Today, we are continuing our comic book journey through film, and under that spotlight is Elektra from the year 2005, based off movie characters by Mark Steven Johnson, written by Zach Penn, Stuart Zickerman, and M. Raven Mesner, directed by Rob Bowman. I am Colton Robertson, and I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And Elektra has some bad luck going for it today. As you know, we put out Catwoman and Blade Trinity in weeks past, and Catwoman underperformed like a motherfucker anyway. But this is the first one we're recording post Wes Anderson director spotlight.
Yeah.
And you know, when you get into the flow of things with comic book movies, you start basing it off of other comic book movies. And our aim with this project was always to try and treat them as movies at large, not as comic book movies specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that we've watched, we're going to start covering these movies side by side with some actually very, very good movies. You might see our ratings suffer on the comic book movie side for that reason. But we got a ways to go before we get there today.
It's all good. You gotta have the bad. I mean, this isn't like terrible, but just compare.
No, it's actually it's much
well.
better than people gave it credit for, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I came in with absolute super low expectations. Like Blade Trinity was fun, but we knew it was part of a trilogy. This was the last one, so we kind of knew what we were getting into.
Tonally.
Catwoman before, we were like, all right, it can't get much worse than that, right? We were there, and like, it can't get much worse than that. Coming off a bunch of Wes Anderson flicks, this is definitely a downgrade from that. But as far as the project goes, like, this one was a pleasant surprise as far as how it turned out. I just expected, I don't know.
I expected dog shit.
Yeah.
I expected a really bad fucking movie, and it's far from great. And I'd hear an argument that would say that it's not even quite good, but it's certainly not terrible.
Like, the story is actually there. Like, actually, kind of. At first, I didn't know where it was going, and I didn't see the twist that like this was actually the I guess her contract. She was contracted to kill these people, and they just so happen to be friendly neighbors. And I didn't put it together right away, but then she gets the contract. She's like, oh god.
Man,
I'm like, hey,
there's some pretty cool action in this movie. It's got a very distinct visual taste, a visual sensibility that I didn't expect from it.
Yeah. I mean,
it suffers this early 2000s thing where it has this intense either green or yellow tint on a lot of scenes, like that color grading that makes everything look like it's, I don't know, filmed in like a fucking sewer. Sort of. It's to give you that scummy underground vibe. Like shit's dark out here. You don't want to know what's going on down here. And that's sort of what Elektra's got going for it. But yeah, it had a surprising, beyond that color grading, a surprisingly good visual sensibility. There were a couple shots. It reminded me of Daredevil a lot, where I was kind of like, oh, this is a better looking movie than I thought it would be. And
like that mansion and the lake or island, wherever they were at the beginning, and like just like Elektra going out there swimming, coming back up, just like standing on like the rocks, and like you just saw the mountain and water and like the house. And like, I was like, oh, okay.
Well, and even before that, there's the opening scene of this movie has to be my favorite scene.
Ooh, okay.
The introduction to Elektra has to be my favorite scene because, you've seen the first John Wick movie, right? And that's as far as your John Wick knowledge goes. You know that part whenever someone is talking on the phone and he's like, your son killed his dog. And he's like, oh. And he like hangs up the phone. He's like, oh, I get it now. Like, we don't fuck with it. They kind of gave Elektra that introduction where like the bad guy's like, or like the bad guy, whoever she sent to kill is like, oh, you don't know who we're fucking with, man. If she got past our security, if she got past our first line of security, I will be dead within minutes. Like that's how we're going.
You have the guy who she's supposed to kill, and then like the leader of this squad, whatever, in the same room with him, and he's so confident. He's like, oh, my guy's got this. Like, don't worry, boss. Like,
he's like, oh, you don't even fucking know, bro.
Well, usually whenever this happens, you don't even know whenever she's here, and your first line of defense is gone. And then as he's saying it, it happens to be that she's already infiltrated fully, and the first line of defense is gone. And I don't know, it was a very good way to introduce her. Like the like the legend of her. Like, I hear that she whispers in your ear before she kills you, or whatever that was. And I was like, ooh, okay, like kind of cool, just the line. But then you actually get it in the scene, you actually get her super far away, but then gives the little whisper, but then is very far away again, or I don't know how she does it, but she's a trained ninja. So that's all I gotta, that's all the reasoning I need, she was trained by Stick, so like,
yeah.
What is like the magical essence behind her? Is there actually like something like...
Yeah, I mean, that does have some comic basis, the sort of, there's a mysticism that the Hand dabbles in that like, for the resurrection side of things, there's this allusion to a thing in her past where she was killed and she was brought back to life and stuff like that finds its basis in comic books. This wasn't like a terrible adaptation, it kind of falls victim to the same thing that a lot of movies about villains fall victim to. And Elektra has this interesting angle where she is an anti-hero, where she has been a villain, but she's also been a hero, like, so there's, she can kind of fall on either side of the coin there. So focusing on her with a heroic light, I really enjoyed that. But yeah, she does have a little bit of mysticism around her where the Hand like resurrected her and she became like their ultimate assassin. Okay. And and that's kind of where she's at now. And
yeah, she's got no problem with killing though.
No.
No problem with it whatsoever. She is making, I don't know if she seems that she's doing pretty well.
She's got money.
Like her apartment that she had back there, that she was just scrubbing down every single like thing to just get rid of her DNA. And her like manager, oh, what was his name? He was actually pretty funny.
I liked the manager, and he was down to ride, like he ends up sacrificing himself for them, and I was like, oh, okay. This guy's kind of dope.
Sound right? Macabre?
Yes.
Okay, wow, he just has a buzzed haircut in his IMDb picture, but yeah, I don't know. He was kind of a dick at first, or what? It's just like kind of the stereotypical manager kind of thing, She's like, no, I need to take a break, whatever, and he's like, all right, well, whatever. It's $2 million for the next one, but I won't tell you any of the details. I'll just give them to you later, whatever. And she's like, all right, what's the job? Like, starting off kind of stereotypical manager guy, but I mean, by the end there, I was like, okay, when they got to his, I don't know if that's just his house or like a safe house or.
Yeah, I take it that's like that's his like hideout. That's his hideaway. Yeah. Whenever he wants to be away from the city, he goes. He retreats.
It was interesting seeing the start of her, just being like, yeah, no, I kill whoever, whenever, I don't care, like it's what I'm good at, and that's what I like. And then, this supposedly is probably the first time where she has some doubts in that, meeting this family that she has no idea that, they're the contract, but then she finds out. But I don't know, I think it was very strategic of, Mark Miller to go over there before and become very friendly, before she knew that they were the contract. Because if not, I mean, she was ready with a bow and arrow, like a crossbow, just like aimed. She was ready. You know, I
Hey,
don't know if it was
I
a
think there's some because she the reason she doesn't go through with it is the little girl. You know, she's got her own history, and you know, one of my favorite Elektra comics. It's oh man, I had the book down here, but now I don't. But there's a great Elektra comic book that kind of goes into her origins as a and it's told with like this art style, like a child is drawing it and a child's telling the story, and it's her remembering the death of her parents and how scarred that left her and everything like that. So I think there's basis there where like she's like, oh God, am I perpetuating the cycle of violence that turned me into the way I am? Do I want to do that to this little girl, etc.? You know, and I really, really dug that. Like it was an angle of the story that they could have just kind of sidelined, and I'm glad they didn't. It was
they called back to that flashback a whole lot, you know, and we got a little bit more to the piece of the puzzle as the movie went on. Like it was in the, you know, the bedroom, it was all flowy, and we didn't know who killed her parents, but like at one point we see it's like a literal like demon figure, you know, and it's just that's who she saw, you know, as a kid she was so afraid that like that's what she saw, and then
I found the book. It's literally just called Elektra Assassin. I couldn't remember that for some reason.
Yeah, but who played? What was Karigi?
Yeah,
Karigi. Yeah, I don't know. He was a pretty cool villain. Actually,
I
really
liked that.
Yeah, like just the son of Roshi, you know, the leader of the Hand or whatever, and you know. You don't get his whole backstory, but you know the way that they just have their like mob boss meetings, you know, and he walks in and you know he goes to a different guy first, right? Like his right hand man. He's like, all right, get it done. Doesn't get it done whatsoever, but then Karigi comes in and you know shows him what's up. So I mean he definitely showed us that he was a worthwhile opponent, but like his crew was wild. Like what a crew.
Typhoid and the Stone. Tattoo, yeah.
Like that was nuts. I don't know, for like 2005, not gonna lie, like
pretty impressive visual effects there.
Like I mean, they hit it a lot, and it was just like kind of black smoke. Like sometimes, like it was very cleverly done, but like for I don't know, it was a really interesting villain just to throw in there, you know, like
and like for a while you thought it was like just the bird, and then it was like. Nope. Oh, snakes and this, and they can all fly like birds. They don't move like the normal villain they are, or like the normal animal they are.
And then one of them somehow shows up in graffiti. Like I guess like it's not just his tattoos. He can like just
any art.
Like, art. Yeah, it's like I don't know. That's pretty sick.
Pretty cool. It's a great idea for a villain.
Yeah, but I love how like we were talking about. I think on Daredevil, we were looking forward at this one, and we were like, oh, let's see what awards it won. And the like one award that it won was Best Kiss. Yeah, Best Kiss.
Knowing that in context is hilarious.
And we were like, I wonder what's this kiss like that won an award? And it's, I mean,
no, it only got that nomination because people were very.
It's two women kissing on screen.
They're tokenizing lesbianism. That's 100%.
I mean, and it literally just a kiss of. I mean, it was a cool shot, you know, like
a good shot.
And then like the slowly like putting her down. Like I mean it was pretty cool, but the award is pretty
pretty outrageous. Yeah, MTV awards, like okay.
Yeah. But I mean like the villain side I think was actually like it was out there a little bit. You know, they really just were comic book very campy, you know, with the villains they had, but I don't know. I think it worked really well for this movie. It wasn't anything that was like, oh, that shouldn't be in here. Like,
no, and this is another movie that kind of, you know, it keeps everything in bounds. I think, you know, there's nothing like the third act doesn't go like, oh my God, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, oh, this is getting ridiculous. No, it kind of kept in keeping with the tone of the rest of the movie. It was what I expected the finale to kind of come to, and all in all, I appreciated this movie a lot more than I thought I would.
Yeah. Like even the little love story that was in here, you know, like it was a little cliche at some point.
Yeah.
You know, but whatever. They have to do
like cliche, man. I'll be damned if I tell you I don't like cliche.
Their first kiss, you know, like, oh no, I hated that, you know, and it like after they kiss, he's like, oh no, you know, I absolutely hated that after. I forgot who it was Elektra that said it at first, I think. Yeah, he says sorry. That's right. He says sorry, or like he apologized. He's like, oh yeah, no, I hated that. And then it comes back around at the end, after everyone's happy and together, and inverse of it. So like it's cliche.
A little.
It worked. No, I was like, I don't know. Like the moments were actually pretty cute. I think
there's a found family here that I can really appreciate, and I like that it's a classic trope, but I really enjoy it whenever the romance is founded based off of a single parent and the kid liking the eventual partner is the reason they really connect at all. And I think that's really cool. That scene whenever the ninjas are attacking their cabin and Elektra has to choose a side and she decides to protect them and stuff, and she like locks them in that room, and she's like, hold on, and they're like, okay, well, she's been lying about whatever she can do, because goddamn.
Future. He literally is like, all right, I see what's about to happen. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to turn it against him. At first I was like, oh no, like, because they kind of tricked you. It wasn't, you didn't know that she was like kind of looking into the future, like thinking what was going to happen. And you're like, oh shit, like now what's going to happen? Like these guys are dead, like for sure. And then, no, that's just how good she is, like I think it's,
I took that to be like her training activate, like in a similar way that Matt Murdock can like sense what's around him at any given point. She can hear where they are, how she would go about attacking them, and how they know she would go about attacking them. So they would have that plan ready. So she has to subvert expectations, so like, there's a whole bunch of layers there that I really enjoyed. And, I'm still in a place where I do quite enjoy Jennifer Gardner as Elektra Natchios. I liked I liked the green eyes, from the ritual they performed, whatever she's been imbued with has turned her eyes green, which I really, really enjoy as well, because that's comic accurate as well. And I'm a sucker for some comic accurate adaptations,
her and Abby were like a very, like, you could tell that she just saw herself in Abby a lot.
Oh yeah, big time.
And was she didn't want her to have the same life, even though that Abby was like, no, I want to be just like you, like, and they have that one cute moment where they sit down. She's like, all right, let me give you your first lesson, whatever, just close your eyes, or I don't know, they just sit there, and she, Abby's messing with her. She's trying to get her to blink or flinch or something, just nothing, stone cold, and then just, gives her a little scare and a good first lesson, not like, no, it was
expect like the unexpected type shit.
The moments between Elektra and Abby were actually really awesome, and I think my scene, well, I really liked their little fight that they had, at the dojo, after, Stick just came in the forest out with his ninjas and grabbed her out of nowhere. He was like, yeah, I knew this was all going to happen. I just needed to wait till the last minute for dramatic effect. But then they have like this little fight in Abby's court, little room, or maybe it's Elektra's room. And Elektra's just, you're forcing it. Stop forcing it, and she's very, effortlessly just doing it. But then, kind of sits her down on the bed, and Abby like starts to cry. Elektra kind of has her in a chokehold, and like Abby just starts to like tear up a little bit. And then Elektra's like, you will be better than me very soon. And like just kind of sat her down. It was a cute moment. I don't know if that's my favorite scene. I mean, a lot of my stuff comes from the dojo. Whenever Elektra's with Stick, because I don't know, Stick was very like, I like the Netflix adaptation of Stick. I think a little. We get to spend a lot more time with him, so that's what I'm used to. But this guy, I mean, he did really well.
Yeah, Terrence Stamp. I like this actor a lot. I'd seen him most recently, and I think his most recent credit period is One Night in Soho, with Anya Taylor-Joy, directed by Edgar Wright, which is a really interesting little horror thriller type flick that I would recommend. A lot of people wouldn't, widely regarded as Edgar Wright's worst, but Terrence Stamp has a really interesting role in that movie, and that was the place I'd most recently seen him. So when he popped up in Elektra, I was like, oh shit, it's the silver-haired guy. Yeah. I think that's literally what he's credited as in One Night in Soho.
Was he wise at all?
he was scary. He was kind of like, oh God, what's this motherfucker up to?
Different movie, I guess, a whole different vein. But I don't know. I really like the. I think that's my shot. I mean, that was the most. I'm a sucker for dojos, and especially when they're up in the mountains. There was just a shot where it was like Stick was just up at the front, kind of. I don't know if he was just still or pacing back and forth, but then Abby's just going to town on some other ninjas there, or how.
I got the title of the movie wrong. It was Last Night in Soho, not One Night in Soho. But no, yeah, I'm with you. I loved that shot, and because there were a lot, like I said, a lot of shots throughout the movie where I was like, oh damn, they're kind of
that guy nice out of nowhere. Like, okay, I don't know. So that I think that's kind of just the theme for the whole movie. It was just like a pleasant surprise every now and then, and I was expecting, like, it is a very common thing for these movies for the third act to go just crazy, but this was very contained. It was just like, Elektra, all right, I'm ready. You come for me. Let's fight. Let's do this.
Yeah, and it helps when the movie's already quite a bit out there. Like when you do have ninjas who've been resurrected, and when they die, they kind of turn into this like green smoke type shit, and you're like, okay, yeah, like this is already kind of weird. And then you introduce a guy whose tattoos come to life, and a guy who turns to stone, and a chick who kills plants as she walks by them, and all that stuff. Like, yeah, it helps whenever a movie's already really campy and comic booky and out there, and whenever you can. I always think it's positive whenever a comic book movie takes itself seriously. And I think this one definitely did, even with all of its campy, somewhat in a typical movie would be dumb, but it works for this movie. I think that it all fits, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Like if this were made today, like say in classic Marvel fashion, when Tattoo Guy would start to like do his thing, there'd be a character that'd be like, oh, now what the fuck is that? Or like they'd be like, oh, now that's stupid, like that. They'd bring attention to how dumb it is. But in this case, they were just like, oh shit. They're like, they saw the hawk on their feet, and they're like, we need to go, like we need to run. And they're like, I don't know, it was all.
No, that's a really good point. There's something about this that has a streak of originality that there's certainly not a comic book movie like it before, and I don't think we've gotten a lot quite like it after. And whether that's for the better or for worse, I don't know. But I think that I enjoyed it. I had quite a good time with it, and whether or not it's critically the best, I don't know. But I do know that I had a decent time watching it. Every once in a while, I'll just be like, oh shit, I actually kind of front loaded my favorites a little bit. Like Jennifer Gardner is the obvious choice for favorite character and performance.
Oh, it should be. I think we say that a whole lot. Like, if you're the titular character, I sure hope that you're the character of the movie, hopefully. Right. And performance usually follows suit with that. But, yeah, she did. She's getting them both. I think that's pretty undoubtable here. But
yeah, like I said with my scene earlier, it was Elektra's introduction to the movie, the very first scene. And then my shot also comes as a part of that scene. And I watched the director's cut of this movie, so I don't know if it's... if this, cause I looked up some differences, and it's like, oh, there's a bunch of little things where it's like, oh, that's slightly different. That's an interesting choice to make. But, I don't think this was on the list, where you can see her reflection in the drinking glass. Mm-hmm. And you're just kind of like, oh, she's kind of frightening back there.
That was really cool. Yeah. Just evil guy sitting in front of a fire, pistol in hand, or whatever, getting ready at whatever he's gonna do, right? And then isn't he like kind of using it to see her?
To see her, yeah.
And acting like it's not. No, that was, I don't know.
That was cool. I liked that shot a lot.
That whole scene was actually done really well. Like,
well, they set the tone for the movie in a really, really good way. And I immediately I was kind of like, oh, okay, like I might be about to get into something that I really, really dig. And I did. I had a great time with this movie. Like I've been saying, and that was visually probably the best scene in the movie, and I thought it was probably the best written scene in the movie, just because they were like, let's just hype up how badass Elektra is, and let's dive into it. But I mean, shit, even when we went to her nightmare sort of realm with all the white furnishing and the white carpet and the white drapes and the light pouring in, and there's just like one dark demon, like all those scenes looked fantastic, like those were really compelling.
I mean, even the last like fight scene, like was in the house with all the white just blankets over all the furniture and stuff.
Yeah.
And they start, just moving so fast that they're all swinging through the air and stuff.
That was hard.
She gets like kicked into one like across the room and like is all wrapped up in it. And Abby not supposed to be there, but is obviously there for because she wants to be, and dramatic. You need that, but like the found family aspect of like Elektra just like wanting to protect her and like do anything for Abby, was like, I don't know, it was really nice to like, was just an aspect of the movie I didn't really think that was going to be in it at all. I didn't know that I would actually like care like this much. Like I don't think I cried, but I think there were like a few like little like tear up. Like man, that was really nice. Like whenever Abby's kind of dead there, she doesn't really know she's alive, and she's like, no, I just found you, like I need you, like no, you can't die. I was like, whoa. I was like, okay, like whoa here, like getting kind of real. And then she does like she remembers like her lessons from Stick and like remembers the hand and stomach, how she was resurrected, and then she does the same to her. She doesn't think it works, but then she does wake up, and then she looks at her own hands, like oh my god. And then like just I don't know, it was like a moment that not any serious emotional like strings were tugged, but I was tearing up like just there was
a resonance there. You felt the things you were supposed to feel, just not in the extreme. Like you were like, oh, that's they did what they wanted to do with that moment, and there's that's a lot more than you can say for a lot of other movies in this run that we've already done. When you are supposed to be like, oh man, that's a nice moment, you've gone like, well, okay, sure, and that it's a bit of a rarity for a movie to pull off exactly what it wants to do, and I'm sure it would have liked to make you cry in that moment, but even getting you just to go, oh, that's a win, I think.
No, I think it's a credit to just how seriously they took them. Like they actually took themselves seriously, and if they didn't, and it was just way more campy or way more whatever, I don't think I would have felt a single thing in those moments. Like it would have been like kind of like a forced sad moment instead of something that I don't know. It felt really real, like, and it felt
in
like
keeping with the tone. Yeah.
Like the whole time there was never anything in this movie that was out of left field. Like it was always like, yeah, this is the next logical step. Like they got attacked or she was going to kill them, no longer going to, needs to protect them. They're on the run, and they eventually get to their manager, Macabre. Yeah, I don't want to call him manager, but like Macabre's house. A real one just is. I mean, he didn't seem like he would make the sacrifice play whatsoever.
Nah, that one was kind of like. That was a little out of left field, like.
But yeah, I guess that might be the only thing. But because at first, I mean, they did not give him any ounce of that before.
No, he just seemed like a guy who worked with her and just kind of like. I mean, he didn't treat her like a best friend or anything prior to that. He didn't treat her like someone he'd be willing to fucking die for before that, and. Whenever that time came around, I was like, oh, okay, dope, cool, Macabre. I guess that's what the script calls for at this moment, and I really appreciate you being the one to do it.
He strapped up. He was ready, and I guess...
Maybe when you are like a handler, that's like something, that's like a part of the gig. Like that's something you have to be willing to do.
But go out that way, or else way too much information, maybe. He knows too much, so maybe even if he gets out alive or they capture him, he'd rather die fighting than in a torture chamber or something somewhere.
Yeah, maybe so. But, no, I liked Macabre a lot. He was the only other guy. He didn't get quite enough screen time to get the character by any means, but he was the only other guy who I was like, oh yeah, I liked that guy.
Yeah. It was, I don't know, other than like the main, like Elektra, Stick, I think I'm just going to like no matter what, anytime he pops up in anything Daredevil. And this one was really interesting because in the other adaptations, like, that Stick is like blind, like just off, like the cataracts in his eyes. Like, it's all fogged over. But this one, you kind of have that, like, is he? Or does he just choose to be? Because, he's that trained that he legitimately doesn't even use his eyes anymore. So they're just like he is blind, but by choice, you know?
Right, right.
I don't know. I think there is like a point in the movie where someone asks him like, "Are you actually even blind?" You know, and he just gives doesn't say anything. I don't know. He's very selective in his words, but man, whenever he talks, he's
Yeah, he got my line.
I think our lines they come from the same monologue, just different parts. I mean, like I'm not gonna lie, this part of the movie, I was like, okay, like I mean, I didn't like the whole lesson that she's learning, you know, like it's all coming full circle. Like she was
Elektra's
pissed.
new groove.
She was, I mean, she was like pissed. She's like, you can't just force all of this on her, force all of it on me. How did you know I wouldn't kill them? How did you know all of it? Blah blah blah. You know, and she's like, what the fuck, dude? And I don't know, he lets her know. I think your line comes first, if you want to.
Yeah. Mine is some lessons can't be taught, Elektra. They must be lived to be understood, which is just generally a good piece of advice. Sometimes you don't learn a lesson until you experience the lesson you're supposed to learn. You know, sometimes it takes that for you to get it.
Like, there's no way that someone who studies art for all their life can come to me, tell me everything they know about art, and then expect me to make something on like Da Vinci's level. Like that's just not how it works. You know, like you can know everything about something, but that's only, you know, the experience is where it all matters. And that's, I don't know, the line that I chose was kind of the end part of the monologue, and he says, "I always knew your heart was pure. You simply needed to see it for yourself." And then it cuts back to Elektra, and she starts to just cry, like right there. She was like, "Oh my god!" Like she just couldn't. Like it was a very quick cry, you know, because she was at a dojo, and you know she probably has been told that crying, you know, that's not a thing. I don't know really how they.
It's like we're in Howarth's office.
Yeah,
Arthur's and
no
the French
crying.
Dispatch. No crime.
Not for journalistic integrity, but just for ninja integrity. You know, you got to be a stone wall when you're a ninja. But no, it was like that scene. I didn't I guess I was more just excited to see Stick, just in general. I love anything dojo and anything like. I wish I could 36 Chamber of Shaolin. Like, oh my, I would. I could not do that myself. Like, I know I couldn't, but like just to imagine me actually going through training and being complete. You know, like after you actually go through that has to feel so good. Like when you're like official and you know, I don't know, but like they build that up really well. Like just that even Abby is just going out there just laying out everyone that comes up to her. And then, you know, you see Elektra fight her, and we still see that Elektra is still, you know, above Abby still, but not for long, she says, you know. I love all that dojo stuff. Anything that has to do with anything dojos, I'm always down for. And maybe that's why, I don't know, maybe why this movie was a little more taken seriously is because it was just kind of like a, you know, it doesn't have to be a superhero movie. Like, Elektra doesn't necessarily have to be out of a comic book or anything. This could have just been a normal, you know, take away tattoo, take away all like the weird powers and stuff.
And even so, it could just be some weird fantasy ninja movie, you know? Like, I might be bagging on my comic book knowledge on this a bit, but I don't know of a character named Tattoo or a character named Stone. You know, I don't know that those are comic book movie or comic book original characters. Yeah, I know them from this movie. And if they are, Typhoid sounded very familiar and her power set seemed vaguely familiar. But the other two, I don't know. I didn't get that a lot.
Yeah, well, it looks, I think that's it, because on Marvel's fandom, he's from Earth 701306. A very long number there, but yeah, his picture is from the movie, and that's it. I think. Yeah, no, that's it.
Typhoid is from the comics. Typhoid Mary Walker. Typhoid Mary, also known as Bloody Mary and Mutant Zero.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She was wasn't she she was like, I was supposed to be, or like she was pissed with Elektra because Elektra took her spot or something like that, or like she was supposed to be the chosen one, but then Elektra, I don't know, beat her out somehow. But I don't know, it was like an interesting twist to add to that character. I mean, pretty cool shots whenever she was in there too. Like, I hate plant life dying and all, and I
but it was a cool shot.
That. But like her just walking through the forest with her, like just brushing her hands against the leaves and just seeing it instantly die. Very, very villainous, very, very creepy. Like it was. I don't know. Villains, yeah, not a complaint out of me on the villain side for this one. I think maybe just the way they died was or the way she died in specific, it was a little lazy. Like Elektra just gets done killing Karigi, after they have their pretty cool fight scene. Not gonna lie, like started inside, eventually got outside. He does the quick, about kill strike, and then she just holds her blade right there. He runs right into it. A pretty classic ninja move there. But then to kill Typhoid, she just chucks her dagger through the maze. I don't know. She's just standing there, and she's like, "Look, maybe it's like a stick lesson. She doesn't need to see to know what she needs to do. She's just that good at killing that she just doesn't want to bother with it. She's like, all right, I know I can get it done this quickly, so I'm just gonna chuck my dagger.
I'm just gonna fucking do
it right at her, just literally right at her. And I don't know. After she dies, it kind of like her essence is like pulled into the dagger. And like it blinks red, and it kind of makes you think like, oh, is there another movie coming? Like, what does that mean? I don't know. Like, is that going to have something later on? I don't know. But like this, because it was a continuation of, like, it's in the same universe as Daredevil, but just
it's actually set after Daredevil. There's deleted scenes where Ben Affleck's Matt Murdock appears to her in dreams and is like, come back to me. And she's like, I will, but not now, and then she like wakes up in like terror and
stuff.
Been
cool. Yeah, that could have been pretty cool.
I think at some point they knew they weren't going to continue it, so they were like, let's cut it.
And no need to pay Ben Affleck again, for just some dreams.
They had to have paid him to be there,
Wait, so they actually did film it?
Those are film scenes. Those exist.
Oh, okay. You think there was a plan for another movie after this?
I got to imagine that if they could have financially done that, they would have. I also think Jennifer Gardner was not happy with this movie, like the product that this movie came to. She said she only did it because of contractual obligations after Daredevil. So the passion for the project wasn't there much after this one was filmed,
I
see. It is what it is. Recently, it was a couple months back, and it was so fucking stupid. It was like Ben Affleck, and it was a paparazzi photo of Ben Affleck and Jennifer Gardner recently, like talking intensely about something, and someone was like, "Oh no, wait, what's going on?" And it's like, well, they were married and they have kids together, so
know that. I had no idea.
So they're probably talking about something important. But like I quote tweeted it and was like, they're talking about the return of Daredevil and Elektra Nachios,
No, I mean, they could be talking about their kids and family in real life, whatever, but this is all they have. People think that like movie stars, this is all they know is like the movies that they're in. So if they're talking, they must be talking about the reboot.
They must be talking about the movies, or they must be talking about getting back together, or something crazy. Like, because at the same time there was something where Ben Affleck like opened the door for. Oh, you remember that video of Ben Affleck opening the car door for Jennifer Lopez, and he looks like super fucking annoyed, and then he like shuts it. He's super annoyed at the fact that people are taking photos of him and videoing him right fucking there. Like that's what he's annoyed with. So people were all very speculative about like, oh no, is it raps with J-Lo? Like, no.
Literally, there was
maybe it is, but it's not.
Little clip that was released, and it made it actually look like he was a little mad at J-Lo, but then like you watched 30 seconds before that happens, and then it's obviously not between them. Like,
Yeah,
they were literally...
like, when he makes it around to the other side of the car, he looks at the people videotaping him and he goes, "Really?" You know, like
literally taken so out of context, and that's you watch 30 seconds before, and it's all solved.
Yeah.
But
no,
yeah,
it's
no,
so
I didn't know
dumb.
they had
I
kids
hate
together.
paparazzi, man.
Wow, I didn't know that they actually...
Yeah, they were married for a time.
Wow.
Which is cool. It kind of contributes to their on-screen chemistry back in Daredevil. You know, we were kind of like, oh, you can really feel it, and I didn't know it at the time that was the case. But yeah, I'll see. When were they together?
Was there another playground scene, or was that Catwoman?
That was Catwoman.
Okay, so it was. Okay, good. I was like, if there was one thing bad about the movie, I don't know why I thought it was this, but okay, that's good.
Yeah. Jennifer Gardner and him were married from 2005 to 2018. They were married for 13 years. Couple years after Daredevil, same year as Elektra here. So,
okay,
very interesting.
I see why they chose him as the pair, and seeing, maybe a trilogy, I guess. I don't know if they were planning on going much further than that. I don't know how.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, I guess this was, let's see, what is, like Marvel, like I wonder what their like plans were, if there really wasn't any
rumors that at the time they were trying to figure something out where Tobey Maguire and the X-Men and Daredevil and Eric Bana's Hulk and all of them would like team up somehow, and that would be like somehow they could do that, but then that never happened because only a couple of those movies were financially successful, so they were like, all right. And rights were everywhere, all over the place, like Columbia and Sony had Spider-Man, Universal had Hulk, and X-Men was with Fox, so it was like, we're just not going to figure this out. So, yeah, it's a shame. I would have loved to have seen that. Blade, Wesley Snipes' Blade was going to be a part of it. Like, it was going to be a thing, but
maybe that is better for this movie. The fact that it wasn't a part of, something a whole lot larger, because I think that's kind of a common flaw with current Marvel movies, is that they can't really focus on the movie and the story they want to tell. They have to have some things in there that like they can't get around, and what that is, who knows how too much of a degree that is. But like they're I don't know, having to tell a much larger story is already so much more complicated than just coming in and making a movie about a found family through assassination, basically, and like, right. I don't know, it's way more contained. It works way better. And like that, I don't know, I keep coming back, like, thinking about this movie, and I was like, man, I didn't actually have that bad. Like, it was actually, like, a very, not, oh my god, I need to watch this again. I don't really think I'll ever need to, but, like, it was, I'm glad I've seen it,
No, yeah, me too. I'm happy that I watched it. But yeah, do you think it might be time for a rating for this bad boy?
I think we've gone through all the favorites. I was trying to think if there's any other scene that we were missing, but
no, I think we kind of
pretty sure.
This movie doesn't require the deepest of analyzation. Yeah,
very simple. Just pleasantly surprised is like kind of what I'm coming back to. It was just I expected dog shit. You're right, I did, and it was not, but it was just all right. But yeah, I don't know. Let's see, enjoyment wise, huh?
It's certainly not as complicated as Tenet, which we will be discussing next week.
Wow. Yeah, we're that's quite the jump of...
Yeah, that one might require a bit more discussion to work through there.
And I still really don't know what, like, I need that's, I don't know. That one we'll need to talk through.
More on that next Wednesday when Christopher Nolan is back under the director's spotlight here on the Penny Bloom podcast. But yeah, rating. What do we where do you feel like you're sitting enjoyment wise?
I was thinking, a close comparison. Daredevil is pretty,
of course.
We gave that a 7.75. Daredevil, and I don't think it's quite, that's a little too high, but like 5, middle of the road. I think it's above middle of the road.
I enjoyed it. And that's the thing, is that if it is middle of the road, I didn't enjoy it, but I also didn't not like it. It just kind of exists.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say it's closer to the realm of like Hulk. Where did we have Hulk?
About a 6.75. So
Okay.
a point below Devil.
I do think I would sooner rewatch Hulk than I would rewatch this.
Yeah, Hulk was, I don't know, I'd say, and Howard the Duck was at a 6. And like that, is it a little better than Howard the Duck? Is it
better?
Or
probably.
More, That's
that's an interesting comparison to make. Like, which movie was more enjoyable? I do think I had more fun with Howard the Duck, but part of that was kind of laughable. It was kind of like, oh my god, I had a great time watching this stupid fucking movie. I
think it's in between there somewhere. Then it's above.
Then I say just above Howard the Duck. I say 6.25. Then
agree. Yeah, I think that sounds right. All right, and then I guess genre here. We were talking about how serious they kept it. They knew the movie they were making. It didn't go. The third act wasn't wild, not out of there. I think like genre wise, they did a pretty good job here.
They did about what they wanted to do. What do we give Daredevil in this regard?
Let's see, genre for Daredevil was a 7.
Don't think I can tell you it did better than Daredevil at accomplishing what it wanted to.
Tying it or lower than it?
Probably a little lower. Maybe 6.5, 6.75.
6.5 is Howard the Duck again. We're coming back to Howard the Duck here.
Maybe it's closest. Maybe it's closest comparison.
Is that the closest comparison we can make? Is Howard the Duck? Just
I think so.
Howard the Duck is definitely a movie that was not taken seriously whatsoever, and then we have Elektra, which is,
and its very essence.
Yeah,
they are the same.
Yeah,
no, you know what? I'd split that difference. I would split the Daredevil and Howard the Duck difference and go 6.75.
I like that. Yeah, this movie's just around a 6 and a 7. Just overall, that's kind of how it feels. Maybe I think critically.
Maybe until we get to critical, I think.
Adaptation, you said
it did a pretty good job. It's still not exactly like there could be so much good in an Elektra movie or a TV show. We saw it in Daredevil season 2, I think, when she was around. Like that's
true.
That's Elektra, So she's close to being there, but it's not quite there, and there could be I can't go super high with it. I think again I would go probably around a 6.
Yeah, because looking back at Daredevil, we gave that a 4.75 adaptation wise.
And I would say they got the character of Elektra more right than they got Daredevil right, simply because Elektra is actually an assassin. She does actually kill people, whereas Daredevil doesn't save a dude who's about to die, and that's kind of against Daredevil's whole fucking thing.
Yeah, that's true. You were what number did you say? Were you around a
6?
Around a 6? That's Blade. Blade.
Okay, then I'd go 5. I go 5.75.
Blade Trinity, right there.
There we go.
That sounds good with that. About right. I was like tying it with X-Men and Superman 3. I mean, Superman 3 wasn't, but they still kept the spirit of Superman in there. So
yeah,
I'd say 5.75 is.
Yeah, and I mean, like they kept, and the hand and its higher ups and stuff. They didn't get that 100% right, but the hand itself wasn't a super far cry from what the hand actually is, this mystic ninja organization and stuff. So like it keeps being like sort of a give and take balance, and the more I talk about it, the closer to a 5 I get. So I'm like,
is 5.75 too nice?
Maybe even too high. Maybe a 5.25, maybe just above.
That'll put it. Batman and Robin was given a 5, and that'll
4.75. It's going to go ahead and tie Daredevil.
4.7. We just keep going down. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe
I think we
it's literally the same universe as
no,
this.
yeah, it is. It is. I'll go ahead and tie it with Batman and Robin. I like the adaptation of Batman and Robin when it comes to literally Batman and Robin, but like the villains in the movie are where that problem came in. So like, I'll go ahead and tie it there because in the same essence, it got Elektra about right. It did, but the hand, it's not quite what you want it to be. Elektra's not quite what you want it to be. It is a pretty middle of the road adaptation.
Okay. Yeah, I think I agree. All right, there we go. Now, critically. Now that we've watched a bunch of Wes Anderson movies and we've gotten some great, great
cinema.
Where do we fall back here?
Well, let's go ahead and take a look back at some of the.
Was a 6.
Daredevil was a 6 critically. All right.
Blades are all between 5.5 and 5. And they're all right next to each other. Hulk was given a 5. And, I think it's better made than Hulk, actually. Like, I think I'd watch Hulk again, but I think, like, for what the movie was, and, like, visually, I think it was visually better than Hulk. And the story was, I think, more interesting to me here than Hulk.
Okay.
I think,
I can get with that.
Is it? Because Hulk had a lot more going for it, I guess.
Yeah, Hulk. It's visual effects for one are a lot better than the tattoo and type stuff that they've got going on. I don't entirely agree with the visuals being better in Elektra. I think it's a better lit movie, and I think that there's more abundantly good-looking shots. But I appreciated that the swing they took with Hulk, as far as like they were trying something. This does look a lot like a lot of early 2000s movies. You know, it like I said, that tint of green and yellow throughout most of the movie. When it's dark, it's just kind of like
was very dark. Yeah,
it was dark. But whenever it was dark, they did do a good job at dramatically lighting the characters. It wasn't like, oh God, I can't see anything. I saw what they wanted me to see, and I appreciate that. So I do think that it's probably either for me a tie or 0.25 below Hulk. Yeah. I don't think I can elevate it above Hulk personally.
See, I guess getting Hulk out of the picture, let's just think about it on its own. Is it just a middle of the road ass movie? That's what a 5 is. Yeah. And I think that's actually true.
Yeah, I would say it's right. It's about middle of the road.
So now, I think you do bring up some fair points to put Hulk a little bit above, actually. I think.
While I do enjoy Jennifer Gardner's performance of Elektra, and I don't mind her version of Elektra, I do think the performances on the whole in Hulk were better. I know I'm bringing it back to the Hulk comparisons, but this movie doesn't have its Nick Nolte as the father, where they're just fucking going for it.
That's true.
Okay. It doesn't have its Sam Elliott.
I think I'm either okay with the 5 or a 4.75. I don't know.
I think I would put this movie just below middle of the road. And so like I would submit my answer of a 4.75.
Let's see where that'll put it out at a 5.69, so at a 5.7 overall, which puts it. Let's see where that puts it in the rest of all these. 5.7 puts it right below Howard the Duck at a 5.75, but above Superman 4 and Batman and Robin at a 5.63.
I can support this conclusion.
I think I would go, Howard the Duck. Yeah. Like, it was out there, and it was laughable, but...
It had to be out there and laughable. It's Howard the fucking Duck.
It's Howard yeah, you're right. It's a duck. And these are just real humans here.
Yeah.
Very, early 2000s fashion. Yeah, this is an early 2000s.
This is the most early 2000s ass movie we've had so far, and I think it's the last opportunity we have for a early 2000s ass movie, because we start moving into the late 2000s movies here with the next year. I kind of view the early 2000s as 2000 through 05, late 2000s 06 through 09. We got Batman Begins coming up, which is
that's
Constantine. Constantine's a pretty early 2000s ass movie. Not gonna lie.
I'm ready for that one.
I like that one.
I've never seen it.
I have some bias.
How could you not, though?
Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves, baby.
So, I mean, it might just be a 10 across the board just for that reason alone.
Probably. It might be the Scooby-Doo of this project, Constantine.
Yeah.
Talk about an early 2000s ass movie. But, all right. So, what'd you say it all came out to there?
A 5.69 or a 5.7? All right.
A 5.7, 57% on the old tomato meter, which I can assure you is nicer than anyone else will be.
Yeah, Rotten Tomato or IMDb gave it a 4.7,
which is about our critical rating of it. So that,
and then bad. Rotten Tomatoes,
what is it, like 9?
11% critically, and then a 29 audience. So not as bad as I thought audience-wise. I think. But still quite down there.
I believe that 11% of critics thought this was good, or at least all right.
Yeah, it's just a few people. That
few of them were like, maybe, what? Yeah, the way that we're going about it.
Maybe there was a critic out there that was a chosen one student that was put through the dote. Maybe this story hit them.
They were like, hard. This deeply resonates with me.
Yeah. That's why 11% of critics.
Yeah, 11%.
That was probably like a total of like 200 or 100 people or something like that. Like
right.
I didn't even look at it, but yeah. But okay,
No, yeah, not bad, not terrible, not good, not terrible though. So, with that, we will conclude this episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. If you would, head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod, where you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content and all sorts of written content. By now, I've put out at least one work of fiction. A little short story is up there for you, which I'm very proud of it. And I'm excited for y'all to read it. And so for $3 a month, you can support this podcast financially, which is huge because it costs me money, and I don't make any off of it unless it's over there. And like I said, I have at least one short story. I'm getting back into writing some fiction, and Joe's been working on some stuff, and he might be sending it my way soon. So, you got some fiction to look for out of us. We've spent years talking about it. Might as well try our hand at it. It's a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. It's more creatively fulfilling than I've been in a while. So that's something to look forward to over there. Patreon.com/PennyBloomPod. If you would, head to Twitter, follow at PennyBloomPod, and follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. Remember to leave a 5-star rate and review wherever you might be listening. And if you're looking for discussion on movies that might be a little bit better than Elektra, we are also doing our director spotlight. We alluded to the fact that we've done Wes Anderson in the past. We've covered Wes Anderson's entire filmography. That was a few weeks in a row. That's what we did. And now we're on to Christopher Nolan, which is very exciting, and it's going very well. And in anticipation of Oppenheimer, which I believe comes out next Friday. And we'll be talking about that the Wednesday after. So you can expect that then.
If we survive the theater experience when the nuke goes off, who knows?
Yes,
we don't know what's going to happen.
We don't know what might happen then.
I'm ready.
Homie broke the Geneva Accords to make a movie, but yeah. But yeah, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And the second life isn't like the first one, is it?